November 19th, 2020. I apologize, we're starting a little late. We appointed a new Commissioner Watson last night, and this is his first day, so he's been getting briefed and up to speed on a multi-thousand-page agenda for today. But I'd like to welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you. Welcome to the November 19th, 2020 meeting of the City of Miami Commission in these historic chambers. Procedures for the public comment will be explained by the City Attorney shortly. Procedures for the swearing in of parties of the planning and zoning and quasi-judicial items will be explained by the City Clerk. The members of the City Commission for this meeting are Alex Diaz-Leportilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Jeffrey Watson, and me, Ken Russell, Vice Chair. Also in attendance are City Manager Art Noriega, City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and City Clerk Todd Hannon. The meeting will be opened with a prayer by Commissioner Watson, as well as the pledge led by Commissioner Carollo. Please stand.
Dear Lord, to whom I pray to, put your hand on us so that we may do the things that are necessary to help the people that we serve. Take away my heart palpitations so that I can survive this day. Continue to watch over us, guide us, so that we, under your name, be blessed and do the right thing. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. City Attorney, please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the City Code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning borough property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at municode.com. Pursuant to Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda for this meeting was published and made available to the Mayor, members of the City Commission, and to the public at least 5 full business days in advance of the meeting. The material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair and upon registering pursuant to the published notice for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by visiting miamigov.com/virtual meeting to upload their 2-minute video comments to be played during the Commission meeting or to submit their written comments via the online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been distributed to the elected officials and city administration throughout the day so that the elected officials can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes public comment. Members of the public may also call 305-250-5353 to provide comments via the dedicated City of Miami public comment voicemail, where individuals will be able to leave a 2-minute message that will be played during the Commission meeting. Members of the public may also pre-register to provide live public comment by phone during the meeting. You may pre-register by phone by calling 305-250-5350 or online at miamigov.com/government/live-public-comment. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this meeting and will be considered by the City Commission prior to taking any action. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, subject to any and all COVID-19 rules, regulations, and procedures. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any persons exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. Section 286.014, subsection 4, subsection C of Florida statutes specifically authorizes the city to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board or commission of a desire to be heard, to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on a proposition. The city, through its multiple comment options, has provided 5 different methods to indicate, among other things, the public's support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at today's meeting. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. The city has created a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments with either option. Those instructions were provided in the notice to the public via the city's social media channels and published online at miamigov.com/virtual-meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. When the city commission takes action on, anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the city commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. PZ items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 Code, as temporarily modified pursuant to emergency ordinance numbers 13902, 13903, and 13914. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903 and 13914, parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the city commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the city commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute 286.015 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. For applications requiring city commission approval, the applicant will then present its application or request to the city commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff's recommendation, the city commission may proceed to its deliberation decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in the Miami 21 Code and the City Code, providing that the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. The City of Miami requires that anyone requiring any action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing anything provided to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to Section 2-8 of the City Code. Any documents offered to the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. If any commissioner thinks the documents supplied to the commission less than 7 days before merit a continuance, the item may be continued by the City Commission. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. The meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at miamigov.com/TV, through the city's Facebook page, on the city's Periscope channel, on the city's YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Commissioners, please confirm you are comfortable with these notice provisions as set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this meeting.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. City Clerk, shall we state the swearing-in procedures for anyone who is here?
Yes, Vice Chair. The procedures for individuals who will be providing testimony to be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The member of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the Assistant City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and/or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you are sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the City Attorney's Office. Each individual who will provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the City Clerk at thannon@miamigov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and a quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you will be providing testimony. Is there anyone here today that will be providing testimony? Can you please stand and raise your right hand?
Madam Clerk, can we also confirm there's no one outside that needs to be sworn in?
Yes. If there is anyone outside, can you please also enter the chambers to be sworn in? Okay, I will assume that everyone is in the chambers, Vice Chair.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are going to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response, please. I do. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. For the health of those who are here, we're going to take one item out of order. I believe many of you are here for the co-designation of the street for Shaky Rodriguez, and the mayor has asked if we would take up CA 18 first before we take up the order of the day and the other business. And so we will do that now. Mr. Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know that there's a lot of people that are outside also, so I would ask that if they're going to speak on this item, that they line up so that we can have them come in an orderly fashion. I know there's a capacity limitation for the building, and we want to be respectful of that. It's my great honor and privilege in a way, and in another way, it's an incredibly bitter and sad moment for me to be offering, proposing, and sponsoring the designation of Marcos Shaky Rodriguez Way right next to the Asylum Gym. Many of you who are here and many who are not here were profoundly impacted by Shaky. You know, when people get to a point in their life where they're known by one word, he wasn't, maybe to his family was known as Marcos Rodriguez, but to everybody else he was Shaky. And I have so many memories, so many incredible memories of him from when I was younger, from when I used to play basketball, personal memories of him. But I think the one thing as I was thinking about what I was going to say was he was a larger-than-life person. He was somebody that you were in awe of. You were just completely in awe of him. And what he did for Miami, I was talking to my father about it earlier, he was Mr. Miami. He was the person that we looked at to see what was a representation of what Miami was. And those golden years in the 80s when the Miami High Stingarees were winning state championships, and Jose and so many others who are here from so many different eras, Stevie and so many who are here from different eras. Those were the golden years of Miami. You know, the Hurricanes were winning national championships as well. And, you know, to me, it's incredibly, obviously sad to be memorializing him post-life. You know, it would have been great if we could have done this while he was alive and with us. But it's an honor for me to be the mayor of Miami in a moment like this, given the history of when my father, in I think it was 1987, gave the keys to the city to the Miami High basketball team for winning the state championship, led by Jose and so many others back then. So I would humbly request that this commission pass this resolution and that we...
Been moved.
Thank you. There's been a motion by Commissioner Carollo, second by Commissioner Reyes.
We can have some public comment on it.
Absolutely. So
Thank you.
for those of you who'd like to speak on this item, you will each have 2 minutes to address us at either one of these lecterns. We'll be disinfecting them between uses. Please keep your mask on. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's for your safety. It's an enclosed space. We have well over 40 people in this room, so we just want to be careful. For those who are outside who would like to speak, I hear there are a few. If you could please open both of the doors so nobody has to pull on the handles and just they can come in and out as necessary. We'll start with those who are outside so they can come in and speak at the lecterns. And then as you see space at the lectern, please just stand up, social distance, and we'd love to hear from you. Is there anyone from outside who would like to speak on this item, CA 18? Yes. Yes, Commissioner. Your microphone, please. Your microphone.
If we could instruct the city clerk, since I was the sponsor of this item with the mayor, if he could include that for the record. I don't see it here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I have Commissioner Coyle and Commissioner Reyes as co-sponsors for item CA 18.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, that's loud. Am I good to speak now?
Yes, just your name, please, and you have 2 minutes.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Pueco Skybank. I was a player for Shaky in 2008 to 2011 at Dr. Krop High School. And briefly, I just want to say thank you to him, his family, and the people that came up with this, because unfortunately, we tend to give our flowers to people once they're gone. And for somebody to impact not only this area, but all of Florida, the way that this man did, especially myself, means the world to me. As a father figure in high school, he changed my life. A big reason why I have a tattoo on my back, which is resilient, because diving after balls, working 2 times a week on and off the court was a huge moment of my life, and it really made me become the man I am today. It pushed me to go play college at the next level and also meet people and give me the confidence to honestly meet my wife. So I just want to say thank you to those people and give the flowers to people that are here, love the people, connect to the people, inspire them the way this man did, because there's no way you can count on all of our hands right now how many people he impacted in Florida and beyond. So thank you to him, family, and people, and I look forward to seeing the street.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Is there
Thank you
anyone,
very much. It's very touching, sir.
is there anyone else from outside who would like to speak on this item? If not, we'll go ahead and you could, two at a time. You can go ahead and wait, one at each lectern. We'll alternate. This one's available. And then if the next two people could stand just 6 feet or so behind them, we'll get to hear from everyone efficiently. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jose Tiger Nunez. I am humbled and honored to address the commission and the mayor as we remember Shaky. I recall a similar function back in 1987 when then mayor and friend Xavier Suarez presented Miami High with a proclamation honoring the state champions. The first after many, many, many years of waiting. This was the beginning of Miami High's and Shaky's great run. But it is not the great run that Shaky will be mostly remembered for. It's going to be about the many kids, mostly inner city kids, whose lives he touched by teaching them to succeed and to beat the insurmountable odds that they faced. Often putting $5 in their pockets so that they could have a meal to eat and keeping them in class when their environment told them to underachieve. It is about those young adults that well after their career was over would lean on Shaky for counsel, and he kept them on the right path to an education and to success. And always, the city of Miami stood by his side. In his retirement banquet, I was fortunate to introduce Shaky, and I spoke about the web that Shaky had woven by the many lives that he had touched, and that web continued to be woven despite his retirement. My dear friend, you will be missed. But once again, with the city of Miami by your side, your memories are perpetuated by this proclamation, and your web will continue to be woven. May God keep you in the palm of his hands.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. You're recognized.
Good morning. My name is Jose Ramos. That's our principal, Tiger Nunez, at Matter High School. Well, I'm one of Shaky's former players from that era, 1985. We also was part of the team that won the state championship in 1987 with Mayor Suarez at the time, senior, I'm sorry. And I was telling him a story. A lot of our guys that we competed against, one good name was Chris Corciani, when he found out that I was getting the key of the city. And proclamation that day, he hit the roof because he had won the state championship the year before, and he didn't get any of that. So I told him he had to be a Miami High alumni, and you had to come and play in our gym, not against us. So I wanted you guys to know a little bit of that story. And secondly, I was one of Shaky's knuckleheads when I came in there at 15. Those same words. He just took people in, didn't try to guide you the best way he could, put you in a position to achieve in the classroom and as well on the basketball court. And that's carried out through my life. I played college, I played professionally, I've done everything. I work with children now, and all of that has a direct correlation with Shaky. So I wanted, people to understand that besides basketball, he was a great father, a great friend, coached a lot of players that came in through Miami High, and
never looked at him, you know, color, race, nothing. Just saw him as a young man trying to achieve under his program. So I want to thank everyone here in the city, the commissioners, obviously, Francis, the mayor, for this opportunity and naming the street, well-given name for Shaky out there, and especially close to Miami High, where I know his heart and fans and where he went to school, where he graduated, can live on for years. So I thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Morning,
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the junior mayor, Suarez, wherever he may be. I wasn't going to say anything, but all of a sudden this morning, I saw that you had appointed a new commissioner. How could I not come by and at least congratulate Jeffrey Watson on a day where we're also obviously commemorating the life and deeds of Shaky. I don't want to exceed my 2 minutes. I was planning to take off my mask because I can no longer wear it. You know, I'm not a commissioner anymore, but this is the only thing I got from the county, so anyhow. But apparently your etiquette dictates that we keep it on, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So I abide by that.
You can speak all you want, though. You can speak all you want, but with the mask. That's what I'm saying.
There you go. In simple terms, he was Mr. 305 before
The original.
Pitbull, you know? I mean, he was Miami. And the way he handled not only his own players, great players that went to play in the pros, but that summer league with kids from all parts of the city. And of course, in that summer league was involved your current mayor, and it was really nice the way he took care of all those kids, without distinction, like Jose said, without distinction as to race, color, ethnicity. I was always particularly impressed with how he dealt with the baddest guy ever from Miami High. You remember that, the story of Manny Torres, of course. And he adopted Manny, you know, and kept him more or less on the straight and narrow. So Jose Marti said, honrar, honra. To honor, to bestow honor is to be honored. We're honored by bestowing this honor on Marcos Shaky Rodriguez. God bless him, keep him, and guide us in the next years of our lives. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner.
I think your son is sitting over there.
There he is.
He came back.
He kind of warned me not to take off the mask. I tell people when I'm in the city of Miami, I do everything because I don't want to get hit by a $100 fine from the mayor and the commission and whatever.
I'm actually talking to the National Coronavirus Task Force that I have.
Good to see you, man.
Don't go anywhere, Mayor. We got something for you, too.
Mayor,
All right.
you stick around.
Stick around, don't leave.
Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, okay?
Good morning,
Albert.
Commissioners and Mayor Albert Milo, you know, President of Related Urban, and usually I'm here. I've, you know, come here a lot on business, as you all know, and I've been, you know, very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in and do the work that I do. But I can tell you today without any doubts that the main reason for that is what we got, as Jose said, and what we learned from Shaky. You know, everything we apply today, and I have to apply today, is something that we got from that foundation from our coach. You know, it was about what it takes to be the best. And to be the best, it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of things, and that's what he ingrained in us. And there's no doubt that I would not be in the position that I am today had I not been a player for Shaky. And the first time I entered this building, was in 1987, as Jose said, when we got the keys to the city. So I usually don't get nervous when I'm up here talking, and today I'm nervous. of that. That's the impact that Shaky had on all of us. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we have to have a small amount of people here, because if not, I guarantee you this would be completely full, standing room only, people out the door. So we're going to miss him, but there's no doubt that the impact that he made on our lives is immeasurable. So thank you guys for doing this, and we're going to miss him dearly.
Thank you so much. Please feel free to alternate at the lecterns if you'd like to speak. Be ready while the other person is speaking so that we can clean the other lectern and you don't have to wait. If someone would like to speak at this lectern, please.
You can do it there.
I played for Shaky. My name is Corral Rosario. I played for Shaky at FIU from 97 to 01, and we have the pleasure of having very, very great coaches. Coach Beats here, coach with us. Coach Ramos was one of my coaches too. He just want to say a few things on behalf of the players that I've been in contact with, after his passing. He was such a great person. Besides that, he was a father figure to a lot of the players that did not have fathers. And I'm not an emotional guy. But this one hurt. He put a lot of players through college, players that didn't have a chance, couldn't afford it. He found a way always to make it happen. And that to me is a great man. I saw Shaky probably about 3 months ago at Belin's camp. And you couldn't be without speaking with Shaky more than 1 minute without him talking to you about basketball. I said, Shaky, how's everything going? He goes, no, everything's going fine. But you see that guy right there? He didn't box out right. This is what he should be doing. This is what, So it's kind of amazing the role he took as a coach and the way he taught the players. But most of all, I want to bring out the fact and the memory that he helped so many players come into college and so many players that he held as a father figure. And thank you guys very much for what you have done for him. Mayor, the commissioners, and he would always be in my heart as a father figure, because that's what he was. Thank you very much. Okay?
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mark Baranek. I met Shaky Rodriguez in 1988 and became an assistant coach at Miami High, and we've been friends ever since. And I want to say that in my religion, to have a good name is the highest quality that a person could have. And Shaky had that his entire life. And just the fact that the city of Miami is honoring him, and the fact that so many people are here, and as said before, many more would have been here, is a testament to him. Shaky gave me a chance to work with him, and in turn, I was able to work with hundreds and hundreds of kids over the years. I've been at Miami High for 33 years because of Shaky. And I just want to end, because I know there are other people that want to say that I really appreciate the city and the commission taking this chance to honor someone who is so deserving, who impacted so many lives, who was a friend to so many. And I think one of the biggest honors I have had over these past 33 years is that I was considered one of Shaky's guys. I was part of this special group with Art Cabrera and Frank Martin and Anthony Grant and Benny and all those guys. And to be the only Jewish guy from Miami Beach is part of that. And it didn't matter where I was from or who I was. It was just that I was one of Shakey's guys. And so thank you very much. It's an honor to be here with you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Art Cabrera, and I was Shakey's assistant coach for 10 years. I was with him every day for 10 years, and I know really the type of person he is, and he cared about people. He cared about people. He cared about kids. He'd go the extra mile for kids. I remember a kid by the name of Malcolm Nicholas. And 1 year, I don't think Malcolm had clothes to go to graduation. And Shakey went out and took care of buying those clothes for Malcolm so he could go to graduation. It's just, I think like our mayor said, and I remember our mayor coming to our basketball camps as a kid. It's like I said, you can talk about Dan Marino, you can talk about Gloria Estefan, you can talk about Don Shula, Shakey's up there with those people, okay? You just don't, maybe he's not under, the big time lights, but he's doing it behind the scenes, and he's getting kids ready for the future. One of the things I'm most proud of is the way Shakey would mold the team. We would have kids from Little Havana, kids from Liberty City, Overtown, and we were like one big family walking into a gym. And I was always proud to walk into a gym with him and our team behind them. I'll leave with this little story. Anthony Grant was chosen National Basketball Coach of the Year in the United States. And he was in tears about Shakey. Every time I talk to him on the phone, he breaks down. And a little story, when Anthony, and I was there that day when it happened, when Anthony Grant's mother died, we were at his house. And Anthony Grant's father looked at Shakey and said, Shakey, when I first met you, I didn't know what you're about. I have to be honest, I didn't trust you. That was the day Anthony Grant's mother died. And he told Shakey, you know what, I want to thank you because you've been like a second father to my son. And Anthony Grant's father did not play around. If he said those words, he meant it. Mayor, like you said, losing Shakey's a huge loss for the city of Miami. And I'm going to be so proud when I drive by Miami High and I see his name up on that street, Marcus Shakey Rodriguez. There's going to be a lot of proud people when they see that. And I thank all of you guys for doing that. Especially you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. This lectern. As soon as you see Clara, and thank you so much, Clara, for your work. You are our frontline worker right now, making sure everybody's safe. As soon as Clara's finished cleaning either lectern, feel free to come up and speak. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item?
First and foremost, my name's Eric Rodriguez. Shakey was my dad. I want to thank you guys for signing the street for him. I know that means a lot for me and my family, from all of us. It's going to represent a lot to us moving forward. The initial one, when he had his day and they gave him the key to the city, it still hangs in our living room. We see that every single day. So I know this moving forward will be something that we'll remember, especially every time we go by Miami High and we see the sign. It'll bring up a memory of my father. As I look around, and I know I've heard all the stories. I've been through most of them. I've been right next to him, whether I was vocal or not. I was standing next to him. And
I know all the people he helped. And I know the impact. And I know the impact he had on a lot of people. I mean, I'm honored, I'm blessed to look around and know I have a lot of brothers, sisters, a lot of people who I could call family, that we were all under the same umbrella. So I just want to thank you guys for everything. Appreciate it.
We should be thanking you for
That's right.
sharing your father with so many others who considered him a father. Thank you. Thank you for your words. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mayor. I got an opportunity to come over and coach with Shaky. I actually was on the other side at Garrett City. But when the opening came open, when Anthony Grant took a head job, Shaky called me and told me to come on home because I am a Miami High graduate. So I had the opportunity to coach with Shaky at Miami High and also at FIU. I got a chance to be with him, like Coach Cabero said, every day. And I seen such the impact he had on kids. Just was unbelievable. We had kids, they didn't even want to go at home during the daytime. All they wanted to do was stay at the gym. And that was a safe haven for those kids because we kept a lot of those kids out of trouble because we always had them in the gym. We always was taking them different places. Shaky always exposed his kids to a better life that they had opportunity to have a chance at. Again, to Eric and his girls, everybody's family, my condolences again go out to you. And what you guys are doing about naming that street, it's an honor. Just the other day I rolled by, I stopped in front of the gym, the asylum, and just memories, cried. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we close public comment on this item?
Commissioners, Mayor, good morning. My name is Pileen Alvarez. I'm a little older than a lot of these guys here. My relationship with Shaky started in the year 1974-75. And if you guys remember back then, that was Shaky's first year coaching. He was an assistant coach at Miami High in the JV. That's when it all started for Shaky. And of course, Bob Kaufman was the head coach for the JV team. So Shaky took me under his wing when I was 15 years old. This is 1974, his first year coaching. And we developed a real strong relationship. It was pretty much where we all got together at the Orange Bowl with Tiger, with Mouse. That's a nickname, by the way, because we all have nicknames. And it was special back then. And we developed a relationship, very strong relationship. And then after we both became coaches, Shaky at Miami High and I was at Miami Christian, where we also won a couple of state championships there, we would always find a way to support each other, where I would come to his games and he would come to my games. And he's actually been a father to me at 60 years old, which I am, and Shaky's 68, but we developed a relationship that was as strong as ever. A lot of the things that I have and I've been accomplished is because of Shaky. The state championships, what we've been able to do to send kids to college, et cetera, et cetera. If I always wanted to talk to him, I would call him up, and he would always be available. Definitely consider him a mentor, a father figure, a brother figure. And I think what's important here is what everybody's been saying. Shaky didn't care if you were black, white, Hispanics, whatever. it was all about giving with Shaky. Shaky was a giver. He was not a taker. He was a giver. And he definitely played a big role in my life and a lot of the people you see behind me. So he'll be remembered for a long time. I appreciate all you guys, commissioners and Mayor Suarez, for, doing this thing for Shaky and his family, because I think that everybody will really enjoy it, and everybody really appreciates what you guys are doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Shall I close public comment? Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item?
Mr. Mayor?
Seeing none, I'll close public comment. You're very recognized, Commissioner Reyes.
Yes, I gotta say this, that I went to Miami High way before this gentleman that is older than you guys, well, I'm older than him. And I was at Miami High at the time that, I'm talking about 1959 when I first got there, so you can figure out my age. And Miami High was a sport, and it was a powerhouse. Basketball, football, and as years passed by, that status as a powerhouse and everything changed in Miami High. We Stingarees, because anybody that goes through those arches is a Stingaree for life. And we were always thinking about that. Those days, you see, that we used to go play Edison, Coral Gables, and they beat us, we beat them, and there were fights out on the parking lots and all of that. And when the Orange Bowl, can you imagine? There were no, at the time, there was no professional teams in Miami, and the Orange Bowls got, 60,000 people went to a high school game and all of that. But all that was gone. And we Stingarees that were at that time part of Miami High, we longed for those days. And you know what? Shaky brought it back. He did. He did. He made us proud again. So, but the mayor said before that Shaky was the original 305. He was. He was. And all of us, Stingarees, the ones that played with him, the ones that were before him, and the ones that have come after are going to remember him as an icon for the city of Miami or for Miami High. So I'm honored, I'm proud to co-sponsor this designation of the street. Nobody deserves it more than him. Nobody.
Thank you. Commissioner.
Commissioner Reyes, did I hear right that you graduated from Miami High?
I went to Miami High. I went in 1959, and I was one of those smart kids that thought that I knew everything. I thought that I was invincible, that I had only one thing in my mind. I remember that was the beginning of the revolution in Cuba. And I saw friends that were a little older than me going to the Everglades training, and because the only idea that we had, people my age, was to go back to Cuba and fight. I know some of my friends went to Bay of Pigs. I couldn't go because I wasn't of age. That didn't accept me. But there was Nero Lambert, Villalobos, a bunch of people that, a couple of them, they went in Bay of Pigs. And I was a good student, I can tell you that. I had a lot of, I don't know if some of you remember the lady that was in charge of a study hall, a little lady that had a big ruler. Well, she hit me with that ruler a couple of times, you know. And in 11th grade, at the end of starting 12th grade, I quit. I made that stupid mistake. You see, I went to work. And it took me a long, long and hard road to go back to school, get into UF, and get a master's. You see, probably because I wasn't, at the time, there was not a Shaky in Miami High. Probably if Shaky would have been in Miami High, that wouldn't have happened to me. You see, I would have been able to finish my school in a normal time, you see, and go to college, which I finally did through after a lot of many, I would say, detours in my life. And probably if I had met Shaky at the time, that wouldn't have happened to me. There was no Shaky at the time that I was in Miami High. I wish it would.
Thank you. I guess then, as I believe the only elected official up here that is a graduate of Miami High. In fact, in my district, District 3, that covers Little Havana, I think at least in the last 40 years, the last 4 decades, I've been the only graduate of Miami High. I remember those years as the golden years of Miami. Those were years that young people were taught to love our city, love our country, respect. You had legends like Shaky. You had legends like Nick Cody's, Corey Gables in football. You would have more people show up at basketball and football games than you do at Marlins games.
Yes.
Even, I dare to say, as many as show up and many times more than even the Miami Heat games. When you say Shaky Rodriguez, many people think immediately of basketball championships. But from what I've heard and seen today, from here on, I will be thinking of Shaky Rodriguez. More so, as a champion in touching, in changing lives of young men. And that's the biggest of all things that he left behind. How many people can claim that they were able to influence and touch the lives, and in fact, change lives of so many young men? The end, that's really what matters in this world. That we try to do as much good as we can. Sadly, we live in such a material world, and Miami is one of the most material cities. But, you know, money comes and goes. And at the end, we all die, rich and poor and anyone in between, and you can't take it with you. You got to leave it behind. So, if you want to be able to leave something behind, what better than what Shaky Rodriguez left behind, that he touched the lives, made an impact, made a difference with so many young men, so many young people. And that, to me, is what a real champion is. It's what a real legend is. And that's Shaky Rodriguez. And I'm sure that God has him by his side. And he's winning championships up there too. So to all of you that have come here today, that knew him well, that played for him, that coached with him, we thank you, and follow his examples, in touching lives yourselves like he did, with you and others, of as many people as you can in life for the better, especially young people. We're living in very different times. And more than ever, our new generation needs the guidance that ours and others had before. So God bless all of you for being here. And to the family, our deepest condolences.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any further comments on CA 18? Hearing none, all in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Mayor, you recognize.
Thank you. And only Shaky could do this. Only Shaky could get my dad to City Hall. And so because of this moment, and Jeff, yes, that's true, and Jeff. And because of that, I'd like to present him for his years of service, which ended on Tuesday with the keys to the city of Miami. It's Shaky's first miracle, getting him over here. So.
Mr. Mayor, I'm at a loss for words, but thank you to Mr. Chairman and the new board that has 5 people with whom I've worked and that I would hope to work for in the future. I guess now I'm not a commissioner. I really should take this off. But for Shaky and for what you've done today, I had to come. I had to come, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again for the keys to the city.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Do you want to take a quick picture? Take a picture. Sure, of course.
Was this voted on?
Senior Mayor Suarez, let me make this 100% official by presenting a resolution that this commission gives you this very well-deserved, for your many years of service, key to the city. It's seconded by Commissioner Manolo Reyes. Chairman, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It, I think, passes unanimously. Let me say this to you as a father, as a grandfather. I feel extremely proud today, and I'm sure that you too, as a father and grandfather, have to feel proud that, first of all, you have a son that has worked extremely hard to be where he's at today. He's earned it. He's worked very hard for it. Certainly had your guidance, your help, your name, but if he hadn't worked it himself, earned it himself, he would not be here today. But more so, I feel proud for our city, for the Suarez family, that your son has taken the initiative of publicly expressing the love, the gratitude to his father publicly in bringing you here today and giving you this key to the city. And for that, Francis, I compliment you. You're a good son, and may your sons follow in those same footsteps. Now, the last thing I'll say is, I do hear that Jeffrey Watson is looking for a good chief of staff, so if you got nothing to do in the next year, you might be able to give him a hand.
I don't think he pays enough.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I don't have much of a choice but to say that my journey that started a long time ago, wild-eyed, bushy-tailed, and hollering and screaming and jumping in people's face, began with my big brother, Xavier Suarez. We both was crazy, and fighting Commissioner Carollo made us better, even when we didn't believe that. But I think we all have concluded that our fight was on behalf of probably one of the best cities in America. I've always thought that San Francisco was prettier, and now that's changed. Not only are we one of the best cities in America, one of the prettiest cities in America, it's all been done by a lot of great people. But I wanted to let you all know that my opportunity and chance came from a guy that his brother-in-law said when I started my professional career, "You know what, man, you crazy like my brother-in-law. Y'all need to get together, because this politics thing that I don't understand,
Idealists. We're idealists.
y'all can talk all day long, so I need to hook you up with him immediately." And that is how it all began. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And, you know, it's funny, and I have to tell this story because he always tells this story, that you never know how life turns for people. And when I went to and he never gives it out easily. He never gives it out easily, right? I went to Washington, and one day I had to meet with the mayors, because the mayors were part of my responsibility, cities, state and local governments. And they were all in the room, Boston, everybody, Chicago, the whole thing. And everybody was hollering and screaming, and Henry Cisneros was getting ready to come in the room. And in my way, which is always not the best, I said, "Hey, all y'all, be quiet. The secretary's getting ready to come in." And a voice in the back hollered out and said, "Hey, he used to work for me. He used to work for me." I have to tell that because he always tells that story. I am proud of your service, proud of the people you've inspired, proud of the fights you've taken on in your efforts to make this city a great city. So thank you very much. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to tell you, thank you. Thank you for the service that you have. This man had a life of service. You see, he could have been one of the most, I will say, the richest person in Dade County, having a law degree from Harvard, being smart and hardworking, and he would have been the most successful attorney, but he decided to serve. And we benefit, all the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County, we all benefit for your dedication and your service. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Likewise.
Oh, yes, that's another thing that is bring us together. You see, we lost about the same number of races. You see, I lost before getting elected, you see, but we are perseverant.
My fourth.
That's right. We are resilient.
We're definitely resilient.
Thank you, guys. And I want to thank Shakey's family for being here. And I want to thank all of you who came and waited so patiently for this. And only Shakey could have made this happen for me as well and for my family. So thank you for that. God bless you guys.
Yeah, let's take a picture real quick.
Miami High guy? Are you really? What year was that? Yes, Gulliver. It's all right. We'll forgive you for that.
Yeah, one of those fancy private schools. Land,
Yeah, right.
Columbus.
Ransom, all those new schools.
I'm from the hood.
Really, Kayanga Pleasant? 72. At least you got some stingery.
Got some stinging.
No wonder you got accepted here to the commission.
You know what I thought?
Leo, I didn't know you had all this Miami High guys. You didn't know this. You had to sit like this. Beautiful, man, beautiful. That's a stingery town right here, buddy. Oh my God, hey, I didn't know that. One brought the credit. Yeah. But I didn't know both of them. First time I stepped in. Really didn't know.
So Ralph Arzo was your coach.
Well, yeah, Arza was there at the
Your
time.
friend Steve Barron.
Yeah.
Coach, give me the ball, give me the ball.
Mr. Clerk, are there any mayoral vetoes?
Chair, there are no mayoral vetoes.
All right, so in deference to our new colleague, I'd like to take up the order of the day. First by the manager and the items that he'd wish to withdraw, continue, or defer. And then amongst the commissioners, we can discuss which items we're ready to take up for the agenda.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. To be withdrawn, SR1.
Just a moment.
To be indefinitely deferred, PZ1. To be indefinitely deferred.
Just a moment.
Can you go a little slower, Mr. Manager?
Sure.
I appreciate it. So withdrawn, SR1 is withdrawn?
SR1 withdrawn. Indefinitely deferred, PZ1.
PC1?
Yes, sir. Indefinitely deferred, PZ2, which is a companion
PZ2.
item. To be withdrawn, PZ3. And to be deferred to the December 10th meeting, PZ14. That concludes the items.
December
10th, the
meeting,
December
okay.
meeting.
Thank you. So-
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Tell me about PC-14, please. Talk to me about that one.
From planning here to update you on that, if you'd like. Give us a minute, Commissioner.
While we're waiting on that, are there any items that the commissioners would like to defer, withdraw, or continue?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I want to defer. Can you hear me? Oh, this one? Oh, two of them. Mr. Chair?
Yes, you're recognized.
Yeah, I want to defer SR2 and SR3.
SR 2 and 3, vending districts and right-of-way improvement trust fund.
And want to defer FR3 and FR4.
FR 3 and 4.
To next meeting.
Okay, so that's the December 10th.
Yes, sir.
SR2 and 3 and
FR 3 and 4.
FR3 and 4. Okay.
And FR 3 and 4 is the parking improvement trust fund and the NRD 2 public benefits trust fund. Okay.
Commissioner Watson, if I may publicly say to you that don't be shy in going to the manager for whatever assistance you need in putting your office together, because, you know, it's very important that you get the help that you need so that you could start running right away. You know your way around here, and you're a bright guy, maybe smarter than all of us here, but you're one guy, so you need help in that office. So please don't be shy in going to the administration and requesting whatever you need right away, because you deserve that, your district deserves it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I want to add, I want to offer also my office, if you need any, anybody or anything that you need from my office, feel free to do it. You see, we are here to all help each other and try to do the best that we can.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just feel free to just call any of my assistants, and they will be there. You and I, we can talk. Well, we can talk about certain things, you know.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Commissioner Reyes' office, they have the best cortadito.
Very good.
They're making it now.
All right, well, you're Miami smart. He's Tallahassee smart. I think we're going to learn what Washington smart looks like pretty soon.
That's right.
We have enough smarts to go around, so we're good to go.
Oh, yes.
Commissioners, are there any other items you'd like to see deferred, continued, or withdrawn? Are there any pocket items that like be entered today?
I was waiting for PC-14. I'm sorry, I have to step aside.
Yes, I'm not going to vote yet. Jeremy, you're recognized.
Yes, I'm sorry, I had to step aside for a phone call. Yeah.
Sorry. Good morning, Jeremy Karaskalger, Interim Director, Planning Department. You had a question regarding PZ14?
Yes, sir. So walk me through it.
Give me just a moment for the.
This one you should look at, Commissioner Watson, because your predecessor was sponsoring, so I think it will have a big impact in your district.
Yes, an important one. We're not going to give you any tips, but we're going to give you tips anyway along the way. Is that okay? No. But you can't take off your mask today, by the way. But he'll recognize you.
Oh,
Yes.
let me just say that was on my note, so I'm not so sure, so I'll ask this question. If we'll get it, well, if this discussion is going to enlighten us, or should I defer it in order to be enlightened? Because I had a note that I wanted to defer it to understand what it was.
Sure.
And I'm
There's
not
no
so
problem
sure.
with it. You don't have to explain. You have a right to.
You have a right, yeah.
Yeah.
The Commissioner's correct. I mean, go ahead and enlighten us, and we'll take it from there, right?
Yeah, so this is the item regarding non-conforming structures
Right.
that are built with a single purpose. And we have a couple items and questions that we wanted to work out with the city attorney, so we were asking for a deferral to the 10th.
So the department's asking for the
Yes.
deferral?
Correct.
But that's not the question.
Sorry?
That's not the question. The question is, walk me through the item.
Walk through the item.
Yeah.
So there are certain structures, older structures in the city that were built with single purpose. For instance, the Marine Stadium is one. Although there's also small apartment buildings that are now in, for instance, T3O, T3 neighborhoods, which are really built single-purpose structures. And they could apply to continue that use through an exception process.
Yeah.
So am I, Mr.
You're-
Chair? So tell me what PZ14 is really about.
PZ14 is about, it certainly applies to the Marine Stadium, but not
Of course it does.
exclusively to the Marine Stadium.
But it applies to it. Tell me how it applies to the Marine Stadium.
So because it's a structure that clearly has a single purpose, it would be very difficult to repurpose that structure. It's in CS zoning, which doesn't allow for the large gatherings that are what that structure was built for. So this would allow the city, in this case, to apply for an exception, to come back and ask for that use to be allowed in the CS zone.
Right, so, wait.
Of course.
So if we're looking at the entire area, right? We had this conversation a couple of days ago, right? So we're looking at the entire area, how we build world-class marinas and we build world-class destinations, right?
Yes,
This plays into that, right?
it does, and the Virginia.
Well, hold on a second.
Sorry.
How does it play into it?
So the
Walk me
Virginia,
through that.
the Virginia Key Master Plan,
Right.
and particularly for that zone, contemplates the marina more or less in the footprint where it exists now. Substantial increase in size. That is actually pretty far from the Marine Stadium. I think it's more than 1,000 feet, if memory serves. So you actually have a boat ramp, and then a considerable open space, and then the Marine Stadium. All of the plans that have been adopted by the city thus far contemplate repurposing the Marine Stadium, reactivating it, and then with the marina in that footprint.
So within that footprint, there's a $45 million allocation, right?
I believe so, although
Tell me about that, walk me through that allocation.
the allocation I would ask for some support from capital improvements on.
Okay, are they here?
Right there.
There you go.
Hi, good morning. Hector Badia, Office of Capital Improvements and Term Director.
Talk about, because it's all kind of the same picture, right? We kind of need to, I think, look at things in a broader, with a broader spectrum, right? And so tell me about the $45 million for Miami Marine Stadium.
The bond, the revenue bond that was allocated toward the
Yes.
stadium is going to be used for the restoration and renovation of the stadium itself. That is to renovate for the venue, an entertainment venue.
I'm not hearing you clearly.
To renovate it for an entertainment venue,
To renovate for entertainment purposes.
correct?
Okay, so does that work? Does it 40, who's doing it? Who's doing the renovation? How, like, kind of be more, if you can, if you don't mind.
The status right now, we're in the final.
I like details. Tell me where the $45 million are being spent.
Sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear you.
Tell me where the $45 million are being spent for Miami Marine Stadium.
They're being spent, I'm not sure I followed you. How?
Yeah.
We are currently in the final stages of permitting the project. That's why we need the approval from
This
the
is
code
one,
change that we have now.
Commissioner, that I think we need to, Marine Stadium in particular, have a full discussion now that we have a new commissioner. You were new here also, because,
I'm a rookie, remember?
well,
It's been over a year now.
You know, I'm like Tua, right? I got a year, I got a good game, you know, see what happens.
he thought he knew it all in Tallahassee until he came to Miami, and so
Yeah,
this is fast and furious here.
Yeah, it's horrible, it's horrible. But I love specifics, right?
Yeah, but here's the problem that I brought up when this came before, and I still don't understand how we put this bond out without the voters approving it. Because we got to pay for it anyway.
Right.
But the problem that I have, and look, I respect both sides of this issue. They're, you know, neither side is necessarily right or wrong. But the problem that I have is that I haven't seen, and I kept asking this question from before we had a new manager, feasibility studies, a 5-year plan that would show me if this is going to work or is this going to be another white elephant. I believe it's going to be another white elephant. Any time that you have a structure such as that, first of all, that's outdated. It was outdated from the time it was built, because it was built basically for the Budweiser races.
Yeah.
When's the last time that we had one of the boats?
Yeah.
It never was a success for concerts, never. It's going to compete with some of our other locations. But more than that, when you have a structure that's built like that, no matter how well we refurbish it, from the very first year after you refurbish it, you're going to have to spend money refurbishing year after year after year, because you're right on top of the water, especially with the climate change that we're having, the hurricanes, everything else. And then, when no one has been able to show me, hey, this is going to work, we're going to be able to have it pay for itself. It's not going to. And then what I was told was that, we were going to finance it from the money we were going to make from this Virginia Key new refurbished marina. We were going to take money from there to pay for that. Well, you know, this doesn't make sense at all. So I think we, you know, need to revisit this. We need to have an honest conversation between ourselves. I too, look, when I was a kid, a young teenager, you know, I'd love to go there and see it and stuff.
Did you ever see Air Supply there? I saw Air Supply there on August 24th back in 1982.
I really don't remember what I saw there. You know? But I don't want to go there right now. I might get in trouble at home.
I was a big Air Supply fan, whatever, I admit to that.
But we have a new manager, we have a new administration, we have new commissioners. We really need to have a frank conversation.
But Commissioner, to your point.
With facts before us.
To your point, I asked you a specific question, and you did not give me a specific answer.
You realize that now? This is how the city is. Nobody gives you a straight answer.
You know what? Do I have to cite my Tallahassee experience?
Well,
because the same thing happened in Tallahassee, by the way. When you ask people a specific question and you don't get a specific answer, what's wrong with that, Mr. Manager? Why can't we get a specific answer? I asked a very specific question. Where's the $45 million going to, and what are you going to do with it? So answer the question. Specifically.
38 million is going for the restoration of the stadium. The
38 million, and the other 7?
Sorry?
The other 7. Is it 45 or 38?
38, the bond is 45 million.
I know.
38 has been set aside towards the renovation of the stadium.
Be
7 million.
specific. How are you going to renovate it? The
It is-
structure, the
we do-
skeleton?
There's a structural renovation required.
Okay.
There
Who's,
is-
who's doing that?
We haven't selected that we haven't gone out to bid for that yet. We're currently in design of the stadium, we're in permitting.
But you already allocated the dollars for it.
The dollars have been allocated.
So you parked $38 million, but you haven't selected anybody. It's just parked there, right?
Correct, we haven't gone to procurement yet for the construction.
You haven't issued the debt for that yet either.
Right.
The only real issue that we have with that stadium, and let me throw this right here so that we are all aware with it, is that when we did horse trading with the county years back, that we always came the short end of the stick. I don't know if it was when we gave them the airport, the port and everything else, or we got Virginia Key. It came with a caveat that we had to keep the stadium there if we were going to have all that land there.
Right.
But it didn't say that it had to be that particular stadium, that particular size seating. You could actually put hard plastic or another material type, 1,000 seats there, whatever, and that would meet the intent of the law. We could always go back to the county and try to take it out altogether if we feel that we don't need any kind of stadium there whatsoever. Yes, this place is a nice historic place, but we have much bigger historic places than that. And you know, one of the examples that I gave when this came up before, and by the way, if I remember correctly, the first time that this came up when I was here back in this commission, the original amounts that I believe were being discussed were like 54 million or something like that. And even though they tell you 45, they have no idea how much this is truly
That's the
going to
whole
end up
point,
costing. This is an estimate, like the one that Chris Rhodes gave us, you know, for the budget.
Is he still around?
Yeah.
Is Chris around?
But I think we have to have a honest discussion. We have to get true, not BS numbers, a 5-year feasibility study. So
Absolutely.
how much this is really going to cost to operate every year. And let's face it, there's no way, I don't care what anybody tells me, that this is going to make money. If it never made money from the beginning, it's not going to make money now.
Yes.
May I?
Yep.
Director.
I do agree with that. I have been asking for feasibility studies all along. And it's not that I don't want an estimate. You see, a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost to be built. I want a specific estimates. And also, what source of revenues it's going to generate, because what we do, government, it's not only us, but it has been the tradition in the city of Miami that we build, but we don't maintain, because we don't budget for maintenance. What will be the maintenance of keeping that stadium, and how are we going to subsidize if there is a shortfall? You see, from what I read, and it was right, the marina was going to subsidize it. The marina was going to pay for it. But the marina is not a play anymore until we do an RFP, and which we have to do as soon as possible. Okay, but we have to really, when we are going to go, we're going to undertake, a job of that magnitude. You see, in order to cover the city of Miami, we need to have specific feasibility studies with projections that they are realistic, and if there is going to be sources of revenue that are going to be redirected to that, maintenance of that, they have to be identified. See, I would like to have that. And by the way, you mentioned I want to have this news. maybe Pepe Diaz was named chair
I heard.
at the county. I'm glad, a good friend.
Yes.
Maybe, we have, I think all of us have good rapport with him, and maybe we can get a lot of things done working with him. Okay? But I do agree, and really, I would like to have that, be more specific on everything that we do so we can make an intelligent decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not to belabor the point, how many acres are we talking about, the whole area?
Well, for the Marine Stadium, we're only talking about,
No. The whole area. You know the whole coastline there, from the Rusty Pelican all the way to the end? So how many acres, inner basin, outer basin, what are we talking about? Because, our city needs to have good things happen to it quickly. Commissioner Carollo and Commissioner Reyes and I, we had a conversation about this when they had the whole debate about the marina. That's one component of it. At the end of the day, I don't want to walk away from being a city commissioner 8 years from now, 7 years from now, and not have anything to show for it. So does the city of Miami, do any of our bureaucrats here have a plan, a master plan of what we're going to do in that whole area? So that the city can generate dollars, the dollars that we need to generate for our economy. So we have a world-class marina. It doesn't matter who runs it. I don't care. But I want the whole thing to be planned out. I want to have that conversation. Mr. Manager, great segue, Commissioner Reyes, 4 RFPs for every marina. Commissioner Carollo spoke about what we have back here. That's a crappy marina, I'm sorry. You're correct. Wrong word maybe, but not the best marina in the world. But you go Marina del Rey, you go all over the world, not the country, the world, and you find world-class marinas. We don't have that here. Outboard, this, that, this deal, that deal. The whole amiguismo thing, you know what amiguismo is, right? The friend of the friend of the friend of the friend that happens to have the lease on this or that. I don't give a crap about that. I want my city to have a world-class marina, to have world-class facilities, right? No matter who does it. RFP, not a rigged process. You're correct, Commissioner Carollo. It should be a proper process. Marina experts, Commissioner Reyes. Correct. People that know, not people that have an interest in it, but people that know, right? So at the end of the day, you guys are supposed to tell us what are our assets. I hear from CBRE that we have 139 properties the city of Miami owns. That's our consultant, right? Our real estate consultant, highest and best use. Why don't we know so we can make better decisions? And if I ask you a question, a specific question, why can't you give me an answer so that I make a smart decision? I can't make a smart decision if I don't have the information, right?
correct.
So how many acres do we have? What do we need to do? How many RFPs do we need to issue? Right? Maybe Zeri can help us. Maybe our manager can help us. But don't continue to kick the can and say, hey, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about it next week or next whatever. We have a commissioner now from District 5. Are you on board already?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we have. So give me an answer so that I can make a smart decision so that we can all have an honest conversation about what's going to happen in that part. By the way, while you're at it, tell me about Watson Island. Tell me about the Hyatt property. Tell me about everything else that's happening, all the big ticket items that are happening here, so that we can walk away, go into December 31st, the new year, and find that we actually are doing things that work for our city.
Hector, stand down on that question. So, Commissioner, that really needs to be directed at me because that's out of his wheelhouse. So Hyatt, the other project, that's not what OCI does. So I'm happy to come back to you with an absolute plan. I'll present to you all the available options on waterfront property, marinas included, that aren't currently under long-term leases because we have some of those that are encumbered. We'll come back to you with a full-fledged plan. I'll do that and some ideas within 45 days if you're comfortable with that, 60 days for the January meeting. And as far as the Marine Stadium, and I don't have the historical perspective on it, but from what I can recall, and maybe Commissioner Russell can chime in on that, that was a historic preservation project, more so than it was a project that was ultimately going to generate a profit center. So I think that was the premise from which it originated.
I'll disagree with that, and I've waited to hear what everyone says before I speak, but I'd like to just highlight what Commissioner Diaz-Labortia is concerned about. Everything he's brought up falls under the Department of Real Estate Asset Management. We do not have a director for real estate asset management right now, if I'm not mistaken. And that is showing very much by the questions that are being asked.
I don't know if we ever did.
Well, but when I first was elected and I was asking, what does real estate asset management do? Which of the properties goes to real estate asset management? Which of them goes to parks? And I was told if it makes money, it goes to Dream. If it doesn't make money, it goes to parks. This is one of those that should be somewhere in between and do both. And this is not a historic preservation decoration for us. This is an asset of the city that we as a policy body need to decide what to do with. Now, a previous body, I'm the youngest one up here, but I'm the senior in terms of being on this dais in one continuous moment in my 5th year right now. When Commissioner Suarez was here, we did issue the special revenue bond, which does not need to go to the voters. If it were a general obligation bond, it would need to go to the voters, if I'm not mistaken. And we did that as a commission body here. And that was allocated, and your point is very well taken. What happens with the marina then affects that. What is generating the revenue for that special revenue bond? But beyond all those mechanics, step one is, what do we want this asset to be and do? Is it worth preserving? I believe it as an architectural structure. It is amazing. I thought it would never stand the test of time, and the fact that initial studies have shown the concrete, the cantilevered roof, the structural integrity of the building is still there. Then the question is it worth revitalizing and repurposing and activating? And there must be a financial component. We cannot have it be a black hole. I believe it's worth it. I believe it's worth it, but it's certainly not one of our greatest crises right now, dealing with COVID, dealing with affordable housing, but I don't want it to also disappear as something we forget about. Now, there is a plan moving, and Hector, there's money that's already been spent over the last 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Could you tell me how far into this we are in terms of expenditures from that initial?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I know that we're finalizing the design on that. We're in the last stages of permitting.
We were doing structural integrity testing, we were checking the pylons, we were doing planning, we were hiring Heisenbach.
I have one question only. We're piecemealing it. That's the problem.
Yes.
There's not a broader vision here. The city could be generating $30 to $40 million in revenue if we look at everything that we need to do across the board. I've done the math.
You read my statements as to my last meeting when I was mayor.
Yes.
I left a blueprint.
One of the things that I do, I'm a
followed.
student of history, Mayor. I'm a student of history, okay? So I see where the revenue generators are in our city. So every time we talk about the pilings, I don't care about the pilings. We're talking about the whole picture. The city of Miami, not District 1, District 2, District 4, 5, whatever. The whole city of Miami. Why aren't we maximizing our assets to generate dollars in a difficult economic time? And what's the master plan?
Because there's no vision, there's no accountability.
Absolutely. It's a question of vision, right, Commissioner?
You brought up Virginia Key. Frankly, the smallest component that we could discuss there is the Marine Stadium.
Yeah.
It just got a pretty big tab in dollars. That's the only thing.
45 million.
Well, that's maybe. In my opinion,
more.
go over that.
Yeah.
But we have to look at Virginia Key as a whole. When I was mayor, we left what I thought was a pretty good balance plan for Virginia Key, master plan. It was a balance between opening it up for people to enjoy with all kinds of activities, but also bringing in the revenue component that you need to make the other things happen and to bring additional revenue to the city. Somehow, after I left here, that was all changed. It was a different mentality what to do there. We have, for instance, contracts there that have been month to month for I don't know how many decades. We have other contracts that I don't know where they're at for rowing that is one of the most valuable pieces of properties that we have, and we've given it away.
amiguismo,
Yeah.
right?
That whole basin, the horseshoe, as I call it, one of the most valuable pieces of properties that any city in America, I dare to say, owns. Not just beautiful, but valuable. The basin inside, I mentioned the other day, Marina del Rey, you mentioned it today. Let me tell you, we could put marina there with floating docks that could be even better than Marina del Rey. It'd be the biggest by far marina anywhere up the southeast coast, and it would, in size, be getting pretty much there with Marina del Rey. There are other components that the original master plan had, with some hotels there and so on, additional restaurants. And of course, one of the biggest component was inside the island, we had it for soccer fields, for baseball field, a football field, I mean, all kinds of sports, including the part, of course, with the Virginia Key Trust. So we need to look at this as a whole because we have a tremendous amount of dollars there on the table. The marina that's there now is just a small fraction of what we could have there. We have other areas in the city that we could have nice marinas, including mega yacht marinas.
Yes.
So we really owe it to the residents of Miami and the future of Miami to develop these properties as quickly as possible. You know, seeing what we saw here today with the young men that weren't so young anymore that came here, and how one individual, Sheikh Rodriguez, was able to influence their lives, we have to repeat that. We have to multiply thousands of Sheikh Rodriguez types disciples so that we could have funding for the inner city kids, that any kid that needs a mentor to help them, a tutor, will have them, so that we can assure that every young man or woman in the city of Miami inner city schools will graduate from high school, will have the tools available to them so that they can graduate from high school, and then the help so that they could get in either to a college, university, or a technical school. And that's the best investment that we can make in our whole city. But in order for us to do that, we also need to find new revenues and not be afraid of finding that new revenue. Having that balance that I'm talking about.
Thank you. Commissioners, this is a big
May I-
topic that I'm sorry, Commissioner Reyes, of course.
Yes, but before, Commissioner, it's a big topic, but it's an important conversation. And the point that Mayor Carollo made is correct.
100%.
So,
I agree.
so, it's an important conversation. Why not have it today? Or we're gonna kick the can again and have it next week or next month?
From a procedural perspective, we are
From a
on
procedural
the order of the
perspective,
day.
we can talk about whatever we wanna talk about.
Of course, but
Right.
we're just trying to set the agenda for the day.
Right, but I think that the commissioners here, as you do too, Commissioner, Chairman, you wanna make a difference, as you do too. We wanna make a difference. We're not here to pass time. We're here to make a difference. So Commissioner Carollo is giving you some historical perspective on all these things that he has the knowledge, the institutional knowledge, because he was here way before you. I'm a rookie, but I'm not a rookie, because I would read whatever he did back then when he was mayor of Miami and everything else.
You really did?
Yeah, I did. I follow your career.
So I was your mentor?
Ronald Reagan was. You taught me a lot about politics. There's no doubt about that.
Commissioner.
But you had a vision for Miami. Seriously.
Yes.
With all due respect, he had a vision for Miami. Way before you came around, way before I came around. He was a mayor of Miami. So he had a vision for Miami. And as we move forward in 2020 now, we need to have a future vision for Miami. And the conversation today is important. Because when you have somebody, you have and I want to call them bureaucrats because that's a wrong word to use, all right? But we have people that are so entrenched in the way they think, and you're talking to me about pilings and about what, $45 million a year that we're talking about? No, I'm talking about the whole thing. Let's have that broader conversation. Let's do the RFPs. Let's have our manager come back to us with suggestions of what the vision is for Miami moving forward. Because we're going to enter really bad economic times now. Forget the fact that Chris Rose found $24 million somewhere. Next year, he's not going to find that money, right? So how do we move forward?
Could I?
I'm sorry, that's it.
Could I say something?
Commissioner Reyes, then Commissioner Watson.
Let's see, I agree with everything that has been said here, and we need a vision. But in order to, instead of talking around it, what we have to do, we will, in my opinion, is direct the manager to have a comprehensive plan, to have a master plan for that area. What can we do? How can we maximize it? What it is, what are the possibilities, and what will be the best use for that area? How can we bring more revenues and utilize more effectively and efficient every single, I would say, inch of the land that we have? And just as I said a little while ago, we need to have an RFP for the marina, if it is, as soon as we can. But we'd like to incorporate not only that RFP for that marina, the RFP for, a vision or a plan, a master plan of the whole area, a very well-conceived master plan. Maybe we can use Commissioner Carollo's as a, I would say, the model for it, and work from there. But we have to definitely, we must have a master plan, not only for that area, and we also have to go back and we have to tackle head-on Watson Island. We have to tackle head-on Watson Island. What we have done with Watson Island, it is shameful. It is the best piece of land in the whole county, I would say the state.
And the heliport, 17 years.
We have not utilized that land, but to the benefit of the residents of the city of Miami. We haven't. So I think it's about time that we start doing those master plans, you see, with a vision of development, and not only formulating the master plan. Follow through, just as you said. And that's my main concern, Commissioner. I'm going to be here, maybe, if God gives me life and COVID doesn't take me away, but I'm going to be here for a few years.
You're in great health.
But when I leave here,
you're a young 75.
When I live here, as you just stated, I want to look back and I said, I helped develop this thing. I helped bring Miami to where it is. You see? At least that's the only reward that we're going to take. That's why all of us run, to make a difference. To make a difference. And in order to make a difference, we will have to have projects that they are doable. And that there is the will of the administration and the commission to follow through, to get them accomplished, you see? And I think that we are at that stage here. I think that this commission is getting together to do that. And we should ask the administration to jump in and be part of this team.
Thank you. Commissioner Watson, you're recognized.
Yeah, let me just say right quick. I think what we're talking about is very important. So there's a couple of things that has been said. There's a couple of things that's been said. One, our assets are important, and it's probably, with all due respect to the newness of this wing of governance, I think the manager is probably as capable as anybody can be that we have. He needs to be directed. His staff's going to talk about pilings. He's going to give us the forecast, and we do need to have those forecasts so we intermingle what Commissioner Russell was saying and come back to what he probably has not seen from former mayor. I know I haven't seen it. The truth is, I went to Jimmy Buffett concert for a Lawton Childs fundraiser, Miami Marine Stadium. Aside from that, that's the only time I've been there. Okay? And that was some time ago. But for the sake of tomorrow, and there will be a time when we won't find 25 million, we need to be able to understand what our assets. We have obligations in a lot of venues. And those, we need to see what that means, because you may not be able to do anything based on our commitments, these venues, because all these new venues have been leased out per se, Bayside, all these things based on and predicated time, distance, number of attendees, and revenue. So we've tried to generate revenue from assets, and we probably need to have the manager. Now, he did 45 days to defer, come back, at least with more specifics for Commissioner, and also specifics as it relates to what the overall plan was, what's feasible now relative to what existed, so that we can all make better decisions. We don't have a whole lot of time to make bad decisions. We want to minimize those. And so the only way to make any good decision is to have the information. And sometimes it does get disjointed. But the whole issue with students and technical training, that's not our area of responsibility as a city, because that's a school board thing. But at the end of the day, it helps us. We need citizens to stay here. We need people to fix boats, electrical, the whole 9 yards. And so clearly, that's something that I'd be willing to help you on, because there's a lot of people they're not going to go to college for a whole lot of host of reasons, but they want to be employed, and they want to find a place in the sun, and hopefully in this sun, so that they can raise their families and be productive. And that's what we're now helping decide on. So just wanted to put that out.
In the theme of what you've both said in terms of youth mentoring, there are 116 acres that belong to us on Virginia Key that are meant for sporting fields.
That's what I was talking about before. Yeah.
Mr. Manager, I would recommend, if you say you need 45 days, go beyond just this item and make sure every commissioner is briefed on the currently existing master plan, as well as the previous master plan under then Mayor Carollo's tenure, so that we can have a full menu of all the ideas that have been brought about by the community and the boards we've put together, the Virginia Key Advisory Board, so that when we reconvene in January to take this item up, and I would recommend the second meeting in January, we're not starting from scratch. We may all have our unique ideas for where to go with regard to preservation, development, et cetera, but at least we'll have all of the tools that have been worked on before us, and we'll have been briefed by the management before we take it up.
And I want to thank Commissioner Diaz-La Portilla for bringing this up. This was needed.
It's important.
This was needed. It's important. Thank you for bringing it up, because I was itching for it.
Absolutely.
I was itching for it.
One of the areas that we have ran into differences with, I won't say problems, has been with our neighbor, Key Biscayne. I would proffer that I believe that if we talk to Key Biscayne to try to partner with them in the sports complex, they've been looking to the county to see how they could get additional parklands. They don't have it for sports complexes, for other activities. I think that we could get them to join with us, find some additional revenue so they would put in. And at the same time, they might be more amenable for us to do some other things there that will bring revenue to the city of Miami. Not that we can't do it on our own without their permission, but it's always best to work together as much as we can. And in that, when the manager is ready, I would be happy if this commission would like to assign me. If not, one of us should be assigned to meet with the mayor there, to meet with the city council, and present to them the possibility of working together in this sports complex. I mean, the plans that were there, and I think from the original master plan that we had to the new one, that's probably one of the only areas that stayed more or less the same. That is huge there. We had envisioned having Soccer, all kinds of soccer stadiums, baseball stadiums, that we could have people from all over the world coming here, youth groups, and having tournaments, et cetera. You couldn't find a better place than that. So.
So I have a very good relationship with Mayor Davey, and he and I were knee-deep in the mud out there not a month ago, studying where there are protected wetlands, where there are developable sports fields, and they are very interested in investing with us. All they need is some access for some of their kids as well.
Why don't you both act,
As long as we can do that within the sunshine, I think there's a
within the
lot to
sunshine,
work
yeah.
on Virginia
Yes, the
Key
whole
that we
thing,
can
yeah.
all work together on. Absolutely, absolutely.
But I'd be, very happy, Commissioner. I trust you in this, to give the lead to you so you could speak to the mayor there, and if you need help, I could speak to the council. But I will be happy for you to take the lead for the commission, because it's important that we accomplish this. And I think you could be a major part of it.
And our new County Commissioner Raquel Regalado also, that's her jurisdiction as
Sure.
well.
Well, of course. Of course.
Yes.
So unfortunately, Mr. Chair, we have, or fortunately, we have two very special guests today here in the Miami City Commission. They're standing back there. First of all, the First Lady of the Florida Senate, Julie Galvano.
Welcome.
Welcome to our city and our debates, right? And then we have, of course, President Galvano also. And we have a discussion item, I think, that we can take it out of order because he's going to leave. Just kind of come up, he's going to give us a quick briefing on the redistricting process that we're going through. And he can more or less give us a quick briefing on what we're going to do.
What item is this?
I don't see that
believe-
one on here. We
if
can
I
do it
can
as a
clarify-
pocket.
Well, it was supposed to be as a pocket item that I had introduced
Okay.
it, but I don't know if they.
So let's finish the order today, introduce the pocket items. Glad to take that out of order. No
Yeah.
problem. So so that's a pocket item as a discussion item on redistricting.
On redistricting, he's going to give a very brief presentation, I think, and so he's going to be very quick, and then he's going to go on his way.
Thank you. I also have a pocket item that we discussed earlier this week, a resolution of the City Commission strongly urging Governor DeSantis to amend Executive Order 2244 to allow the city to enact mitigation measures to reduce the spread of COVID, protect the health, safety, and welfare of its residents. Also authorizing local government bodies in South Florida to have the option to hold virtual meetings during the declared state of local emergency at our discretion.
I told you I would second that before.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
Second
those are
that,
two
sir.
pocket items. This one is an action item, so we'll save it for later, so that if there is public comment, please to go to miamigov.com/virtual meeting and leave your public comment, or come here publicly.
Mr.
In
Chair?
the meantime, let's just vote on the order of the day, set the agenda, and then we will take up, would this be pocket item 1?
Pocket item 1.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I believe the mayor also has a pocket item. Would you like me to introduce that on his behalf?
Please.
Yes, please, if you
What
would.
is
I
the,
believe it's co-sponsored by District 3.
What is the
Yes,
item?
I will be bringing it up when we're ready on that, so go ahead if you could introduce.
I believe it's a resolution concerning restricting flights from Cuba into Miami International Airport because of the COVID-19 crisis down there and their lack of screening and treatment, and to prohibit travelers from entering Miami.
Thank you. Please pass it out. We'll add that on as pocket item number 2. And actually, this will be pocket item number 2 is the urging DeSantis. Pocket item number 3 will be that one. Can I get a motion on the setting of the agenda, the order of the day?
So moved.
So moved
Second.
and seconded.
Did you need me to restate the items, dates, all that, or we're good
Only
to
if
go?
you're unclear. It was clear to
I'm
me.
good to go.
You're good. All right. Anyone need it restated? What items in what order? And actually, just for clarification, that item on the non-conforming uses and structures, PZ 14, what date would that be?
It's my understanding it's to be continued.
December 10th.
Which will be
December
December
10th.
10th.
December 10th.
Is
December
that
10th.
sufficient time, Mr. Manager?
Go up there.
Because I don't think we're ready to bring that back until we have that greater discussion.
I apologize, Mr. President. It's not the way it normally works. It's not Tallahassee. Come up here, sir. Let's recognize it.
Yeah, just stay right there, hold on.
We just need to vote this item.
Yes.
Good morning, Zeri Ihekwaba, Assistant City Manager. We received a communication from the Builders Association of South Florida
asking for additional briefing on the item on us in public places. So we'll prefer to move it to sometime in January to give us enough time to brief them and also to reach out to the commissioners in case you have additional questions for us to address.
That'll be fine.
So-
Mr. Manager, could you instruct the acting planning director that before this item comes back, if he could meet with me so he could brief me personally and
Because we were
any
talking about
questions that I
PZ-14.
might have that I could ask him then?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Jerry-
But
Jerry, something you
Commissioner,
said was-
Chairman, I'm sorry. Why don't you just kill this item? Why do we continue to debate this art of public places thing?
Well, it's withdrawn. That's why I don't understand why you're talking about it.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah.
They were talking about PZ-14.
14, yeah.
14.
So-
PZ-14 is what they
All
were
right,
referencing.
let me help. I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
bring
two
this in
things,
order.
two different things.
Part of the order of the day is the withdrawal of the art and public places item.
Yes.
So there is no need for a deferral further from supplemental.
It's a
They'll be very happy to hear
complete
this.
withdrawal.
It is a complete withdrawal.
Yes, our
It will
question
go
was
away-
with
It will go
regard,
away, it will die, right?
Unless somebody brings it back.
Okay, all right.
I just needed a date for PZ-14 because originally it said December 10th and you said you wanted
Yes,
25
it's
days.
December 10th. It's
Exactly.
December 10th.
Fine. Is there any further discussion on the order of the day? All in favor of the item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. You are very much recognized. I apologize to keep you waiting.
Good morning. Thank you. Appreciate having a couple of moments just to, again, say hello. I've had the pleasure of meeting with each of you individually, and congratulations, Commissioner Watson. It's nice to have met you yesterday. I again appreciate the opportunity to work with the City of Miami on your redistricting. I can tell you that the city manager and your staff has been very helpful and forthcoming in terms of what we need, which will continue to grow as we go into the future. As you all recall, when we had our meetings, one of the big data dumps, so to speak, or data points was the election that was pending. Now, we are now about 2 weeks past that election. We are in the process of gathering the information, registration, turnout, vote by ethnicity to start to build a picture, and we're going all the way back to 2012. We expect to have that data compiled in an informative manner probably by the beginning of next year. In addition to that, as you recall, the U.S. Census is supposed to release its numbers on April the 1st. That's a very important date for us. That is necessary in order to finalize your commission districts. We believe, because of some internal discussions, that it may be past that date due to COVID-19 issues and other issues. And we have to watch that because that's very important. Because if you're going to get a district drawn in time for an election, you still have to back up from that election to meet the deadlines and the requirements of the supervisor of elections. And in 2013, originally was, I believe, May, and then the supervisor moved it back into June. But it's a tight area, so I just put that on your radar screen. But we will start getting some releases of data prior to the actual release on April the 1st. So we'll continue to work in that regard steadily. You're going to start to see a lot more of me as time goes on. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not. You did say unfortunately when you noticed me, but I think that was Freudian. But in any event, things are underway, and again, I appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you, and I'm interested to see how your population numbers change, and I would suspect that you will have a significant bump, and there should be some deviation significant enough to require some modifications, which you all will ultimately make that decision, but we'll provide you all the tools necessary to do so. And so with that, that's just a hello and a brief update, and you'll see me again very soon.
Thank you, President Galvano. Discussion?
Thank you.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Let me ask a quick question for both of us in the administration. Just for clarity. PZ-14, I was going to defer. The manager did.
Yes.
And it came as a Trojan horse and morphed into a bigger conversation.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
It changed like to a Trojan horse and morphed into a bigger conversation.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to understand date-wise, because we went now dealing with a plan and assets in that area, because the only example that was used was Miami Marine Stadium as it relates to that item, and I don't know what else that affected all of our districts.
We don't. It was never stated to us. You're right.
So the question is, do you need the 10th for just that item? Because then you ask for 45 days to come back on the Marine Stadium, or do you need more time? Because that, I'm sorry, but it was confusing to me.
Yeah, so Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla used that item as a segue to another conversation he wanted to have relative to the overarching issue, which is the performance of our waterfront properties.
No.
Maximizing.
Commissioner just wanted specifics, and that became the basis of the discussion.
Yeah, but
All right.
the issue on that item, we have plenty of time to bring it back on December 10th. It is a singular item. It's relative to the code. The issue that sort of transpired or evolved from that conversation was this bigger land discussion of which we're going to be prepared to come back to the commission.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
So I have a question about Senate President. Based on what you've seen so far, anyway, Mr. Chair, based on, will Miami have 500,000 plus people in the new census?
I would suspect so, yes. We don't have those exact numbers, but just, working with the existing data and what we see, I think you're
That's a
going to
big
be a
deal.
little bigger than a Senate district
Yeah.
as a city.
If I recall, that gives us status of a mega city, is
That's
what
a big
I
deal.
believe it's referred to, and that has certain different abilities for us to have direct contact with the federal government rather than through our county. And
Absolutely.
as we study how we redistrict, hitting that number means something for our city, and I'd like to get a full briefing on what that means from a
Let me
state
tell you why
and
that's
federal level.
important.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important thing at the end of the day, right? I mean, you're representing too many people, but we're gonna fix all that. That's normal, that's the way it works, right?
Chair, if I may.
But the 500,000 people is a big deal for us, because we can bypass.
Absolutely.
Right?
For
We can
example.
bypass, right? We can bypass,
Yes.
any county mayor.
The
or
county
any-
and all of that.
Right?
But
And we can start getting dollars for us.
For example,
I'm sorry.
when the federal government put the CARES Act into the state of Florida, those funds, we in state government managed most of those dollars. However, if you were a county or a city with a population with 500,000 or greater, you passed the state and it went straight through. That's one example of how it's categorized at the federal level and then supported at the state level. So that is very significant.
And as Senate President, tell me how many billions of dollars you managed.
Well, it's a $93 billion budget.
No, for the CARES dollars.
It was $12 billion that came through.
$12 billion.
Yes.
The city of Miami got, yesterday got 8.5 million. Beautiful. 8.5 million yesterday, right, that we allocated, right? That they were, the charity case.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Can
what
I-
ultimately went through into your local communities was around 4.7.
Right, about 4.7, that was
Because then you had
distributed,
your
right?
direct FEMA type spends.
But had we had the 500,000
Then,
people.
then you would have been, no question, it would have been, it was 11 counties in one city, I believe, that received.
So I don't know, Mr. President, maybe you have to go and count every single voter that we have, every single resident that we have here. But I want 501,000, right? 500,000 plus one. So we
Yes.
make sure that we do the right count.
That was why we place so much emphasis on people filling the census.
That's why we're
Completing
doing
the
it, of
census.
course.
And I think that if we have to go back and knock on their doors because they didn't do it, we should. But I want to ask you some questions. Do you have any numbers that you can share? Not now, later on with my office?
Yes, I will. I
Okay,
don't
but
have anything right
not
now.
now. I don't want to, but I would like to be, abreast of everything that
And I
that is
committed
going
to
on.
each of you that we
Okay,
will
sir.
keep you.
Okay,
keep
thank you
in the
very
loop.
much.
Question, if for whatever reason our numbers come out below that, is there a process through which the city can challenge the census results?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yes, but that's, as I understand it, there is. And if we can, you see, when we do this process, and we're talking unrelated to, but government's my interest. So we're looking at different types of data sources. So if we're able to present a case, so to speak, of where we're saying this is just not consistent with what we're seeing here, or this type of registration. Yes, I don't know exactly what that procedure is, but it seems to me that there should be some ability for a city, especially one approaching that very important threshold, to be able to make a case for itself if it believes that it should.
I'd be happy to expand the scope of what you're doing to make sure that step one, we're establishing we get good census numbers. Step two, we make sure the city's divided fairly and that good representation happens. But that first part is so important to us, and your expertise may help us there.
Yeah, and the problem is that President Galvano may be stuck in Miami for a little while. I'm sure Julie will love
Maybe
that,
I'll
right?
move and become a resident
Because
to
he went
help
to
the
University of Miami Law School, right? And Julie loves Miami. Sarasota is somewhat boring, right? Bradenton is everything closed at 8:30 at night or whatever. So I think his expertise, his knowledge, his relationships are going to be very, very important for our city. Because we look at the big picture we were talking about earlier, the big picture is how does Miami get to 500K? And if we get to 500K voters, residents, then we have access to a whole bunch of federal dollars that we never had access to before.
And there are still
And that's
dollars.
important. Forget the fact that you represent too many people, I represent too little people. That's a different conversation. That's part of your scope of your work. But beyond that, how do you figure out a way for us to get to 500,000 people so that we can access these dollars, these federal dollars, directly? And not have to rely on county leaders and others to try to tell us what we're entitled to.
Well, it's either you have it or you don't. What you're asking is how to make sure that there are no irregularities or shortcomings that don't allow the actual numbers to be reflected.
Because what
That's
happens, right, what happens is because the nature of Miami, people underreport, right, because they're afraid. So somebody knocks on the door and for whatever reason, it's based on population, it's not based on nationality or naturalization, right? So because we have people that are illegal immigrants here, right, that they in essence don't report because they're afraid. So what's the variance?
Or COVID, it affected the census.
Or people that open the door, right? I mean, people that open the door because they're afraid.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, what tools are available to us to allow to get to 500K? Because I think that's clearly everybody intuitively, we know that we have more than 500,000 people. Right? We know.
And before you answer, please, because Atlanta, in the last official census 10 years ago, was under 500K, just like us. They found a way to adjust throughout the decade to when this came up during CARES Act, they were able to say, we've got 505, or whatever it is that they met the threshold.
Yeah.
And that meant $80 million for us that we didn't see. So whatever homework they did, we didn't do. And if you're working with us on our census numbers, I would love to make sure that your scope includes that analysis so that we know what tools are available to us and our management can take action in their
Commissioner
relationship.
Russell, I will look at that.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions for President Galvano?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, President. Bye, Julie.
All right, so that was PI 1, discussion item done. I'm going to save the other pocket items for later so that if any public comment does come in, we need to take up public comment for our items before we vote on the CA, PH, and RE agenda. Do we have public comment for the morning's agenda aside from item number SR6? Have we been able, because I understand there was significant recorded public comment that came in on SR6 that could actually, the public comment, are we able to bifurcate public comment by topic?
Yes, sir. There's approximately 8 hours and 52 minutes, so over 360 recorded messages that came in for SR6.
8 hours and 52 minutes of public comment for SR6.
Almost 9 hours.
So we will not be taking that item or that public comment up at this moment. What I would like to do is look at the public comment for all other items.
And those have been separated.
And we've got, thank you very much for parsing that. That's going to help our day tremendously.
Can we go home and take it at home through Zoom or something like that?
I would love to get an official opinion on that because
Yes.
it's my understanding that we need to hear or have access to the public comment before we vote. But during this virtual concept when we've allowed virtual public comment to be sent to us, the email public comment is not necessary to be read out loud in the chambers. We just have access to it leading up to the commission meeting so we can take in those comments and they become a part of the public record. Can we do the same with video, Madam City Attorney?
So, good morning. I apologize that I'm not with you again. One moment.
You need to give him some water.
I apologize that I'm not with you again. We have a family emergency going on. But basically, with regard to the public comment and the 8 hours, they are all pretty much exactly the same public comment. It's a script that was read, so we will read that to you so that you do not have to listen to the 8 hours and 52 minutes. Since it is all on the same topic and it is the same script.
How long?
Does that answer your question,
Yes, but.
Vice Chairman?
Madam City Attorney, it's identical because I want to make sure that we are in compliance with public public access. And,
Yes, we had called the Attorney General's office. This process that we are doing today will comply with our duty to have access, to give access to our residents, and also to give you the information you need to make an informed decision.
Can that be challenged?
Anything can be challenged.
Anything could be challenged, but we are very confident that this is in line with
Okay, it is in line.
the duty that we need to do.
How long, now that you are we are reducing the number that have to be heard because they are repetitious. How long will be those comments then if we reduce that amount? There are any that they are different that we will have to, you have any time estimate in that issue, the comments, how long will be required to hear them? For how long?
We parsed out, the communications department parsed out the items that have to do with ordinance.
SR6.
With SR6. That information was parsed out, and we will read you the actual statement that was stated.
Okay, I got you.
Mr. Min, do you have that, or do I need to do it?
I have it, Mr. Chair. You ready for me to read it?
which part are you going to read? The script of that one item?
Yes.
I'd like to address those who are here with us in person first for public comment, so that if anyone who's been here waiting would like to speak on any of the agenda items today, now is your time. You've already been sworn in, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, if need be.
I'm here on SR6, so I don't know if you're going to take comments now or later.
Now's good.
Now's the time.
2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Alfredo Gonzalez. I'm an attorney with Genoese Job Law and Batista, with offices at 100 Southeast 2nd Street, Suite 4400. It's my pleasure to be here representing Ball and Chain, a restaurant located at 1513 Southwest 8th Street. We urge you not to pass this ordinance today. But if you're going to pass this ordinance, I think that people in the same boat as my client who have applied for a warrant for specifically this use over a year ago should be exempted from this ordinance. We object to this ordinance on 3 real grounds. Number one, we think it violates due process and equal protection because it's an arbitrary and capricious ordinance when it comes to people like my client who, going back to October of 2019, applied for a warrant. Further, the ordinance is unconstitutionally vague and overbroad. Secondly, I think the city may be equitably stopped from proceeding in a situation where, notwithstanding Code Section 7.1.2.4 of your Miami Code, Miami 21 Code, a year later, we still don't know whether our warrant will be issued, what we need to do, and how we get it completed. In essence, the city has delayed that process long enough for this ordinance to prohibit the use we're doing. Thirdly, the master plan and zoning on this property and on the property surrounding us is a urban core zoning for entertainment venues. It is in fact exactly the type of use that this ordinance is constricting and restricting, and it will apply to such other areas as Bayside, Wynwood, Midtown, in various ways. Lastly, it will expose the city to a taking situation that Jay Bear has. I'm going to introduce my argument into the record and a outline of the time that it has taken to process our warrant. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Next public speaker, please. Mr. Warnick?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, City Manager, Mr. Mayor. Steve Warnick, address at 89 Northeast 27th Street in Wynwood. I'm appearing here this morning on behalf of the Wynwood Community Enhancement Association in support of items FR3 and FR4. I know that they've been deferred to the next month, but I just wanted to first thank you for the Wynwood Norte Neighborhood Revitalization District, which was approved last month unanimously. This has been a product of extensive community engagement and participation. The items that are on the agenda are part of that effort and to reinvest in the community. And I also wanted to say congratulations to Commissioner Watson, and we're really looking forward to meeting with you and bringing you up to speed on the efforts of this diverse association. And really, it's about restoring the pride of this neighborhood. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak for public comment on any of today's agenda items? Seeing none, I'll close public comment from in person. It is afternoon at this point, gentlemen. We can either play public comments and then break for lunch, or we can break for lunch now. What would you like to do?
Both.
Pizza on the dais.
Can we do both?
All right. How much time?
I can eat it and watch public comment.
How much do we have in public comment from a time perspective?
What? I believe it.
Chair, I believe it's roughly 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Why don't we break then for lunch?
All right, so let's break for lunch. We'll meet back at 2. We'll finish the public comments and take up the day's agenda.
It's 12:08, right? 2:30?
2:30? Will of this body?
Absolutely.
All right, 2:30, we'll reconvene.
For the record, Chairman, when we bring up the items as a whole that you mentioned, PH4, I have to make a floor amendment in changing the amount of dollars that, since this is coming from my funds, that we're allocating for the COVID home delivery of food that we approve, and that's going to be for a total of $123,943.06. That's with Catholic Charities that we've been doing this. So the city attorney, is sufficient that I brought this up now, or do I need to withdraw it and do this individually, or by doing this floor amendment, would it be fine then?
It's fine. It'll be adopted as amended.
Okay, so.
The clerk will remind us to make sure it is amended on the floor during the item, and we'll vote.
PH4.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the 4/5, right? It requires 4/5.
Yes.
So what's the allocation?
$123,943.06.
Okay.
It's different from the one that was there. That's why I have to make it.
Thank you, everyone. See you at 2:30.